Chapter 10. Wrath's Rules. "This way!" exclaimed the boy as he flew through the sky. "Look, that's my old school. I want to introduce you to my horrid headmaster." "Goody, goody," replied Slime. You can see Mulch, a school for the revolting children, and there is the headmaster. The bird flapped its wings and began swooping off in the direction of the terrifying Gothic building overlooking the sea. A huge sign outside read, "Mulch School for Revolting Children." A bell chimed. Ding! It was the beginning of the school day. Things started indecently early at Mulch School at the break of dawn. That is how the headmaster liked it. The children having to get up in the middle of the night to be at the school on time was all part of the torture. Ned smiled to himself at the thought of what naughtiness was to come as he began descending to the playground. Just as soon as the bird's feet touched down, it placed Ned onto a bench and then translimed back into a blob. The blob loomed behind the boy like a great slimy shadow. "Let's give Mr. Wrath something to be angry about," began the boy. "Goody, goody." Not unsurprisingly, after seeing a giant bird of slime land in the playground, the teachers all hurried out of the school building, pointing and shouting. They looked pretty cross. "I don't believe it," shouted one. "I won't believe it," shouted another. "I will believe it, but I can't believe it," shouted a third. The pupils of Mulch School all pressed their faces up against the classroom windows to see. They were too frightened of the teachers to dare step outside into the playground without permission. Then a man with a long black gown draped over his shoulders stormed out of the building. He whisked the cloak around theatrically as if he were Count Dracula twirling his cape. Swish! It was only his teacher's gown, but it afforded him an air of evil that he relished. Mr. Wrath, the headmaster, had a big, bald head. So he looked like an egg with a little moustache drawn on it. This moustache would flare up whenever he exploded with rage, which was often. So often, in fact, that Mr. Wrath was in a rage more often than not. Take a look at his rageometer of Mr. Wrath's typical day. And then we have the rageometer here. We got huff, bluster, uproar, tantrum, frenzy, fury, and rage. It gets worse as we go along. As you can see, his rage is literally off the scale. It is certainly off the page. Mr. Wrath raged at all the children in Mulch School, as it was the only school that was all the children on the island. The lucky ones got whacked with a wooden ruler. The unlucky ones were whacked with a wooden ruler and then expelled. "Landing giant birds in the playground is strictly forbidden," he raged at Ned as he marched towards him. Even though landing a giant slime bird in the playground was not covered in the school rules, the headmaster was confident he could invent one. Mr. Wrath had invented a long list of rules over the 30-year reign of terror at Mulch School. And here we have some. Wrath's rules. "No comparing me to an egg. I do not look like an egg. Eggs do not have moustaches. I have a moustache, so that is the end of it. Anyone who does compare me to an egg will be expelled. Also, my head is a lot bigger than an egg. And I have ears. Last time I checked, eggs do not." 2. No breaking wind on school premises without letter of consent from the headmaster. Even if a bottom boat comes out by accident when you catch a cricket ball, you will be expelled. 3. No laughing at school. You have not come to school to laugh. Crying, sobbing, or bawling of any kind is welcome, though. There is no better sound than a child blubbering. Anyone heard laughing will be struck with a wooden ruler, then expelled. 4. No excuses whatsoever for late homework. I don't care if your house took off in a tornado or you were abducted by aliens. If your homework is so much as 1 second late, you will be expelled. It's quite strict, isn't it? Oh, there's more. No moaning about school dinners. Shoefish are incredibly tasty and can be used in every single dish in the school canteen. Shoefish bread, shoefish pie, shoefish stew, shoefish curry, shoefish cake, shoefish blancmange, shoefish mousse, shoefish surprise. The surprise being is made of shoefish. Anyone overheard moaning about school dinners will be forced to finish their school dinner before being expelled. Number 6, no wearing your tie the wrong way round, so the skinny part is on the outside and the wide part is on the inside. Anyone found with their school tie the wrong way round will be spun around by their tie and expelled out of the window. Number 7, no playing in the playground. At break time and lunchtime, you are only permitted to stand around in the rain. There shall be no playing of games. Any child caught playing games will be forced to stand outside in the rain and then expelled. Number 8, no chocolate allowed on school premises. Any chocolate will be confiscated personally by me. I will then dispose of the chocolate by eating it. Anyone who refuses to hand over the chocolate to me will not be expelled. They will be held upside down by their ankles and dangled out of the window until they hand over their chocolate. After I have eaten their chocolate, then and only then will they be expelled. Number 9. No sneezing during lessons. It is disruptive to work. If you feel a tickle in your nose telling you that a sneeze is coming, then for goodness sake, wait until you return home and then sneeze. Anyone heard sneezing in school will be expelled. Just as the sneeze expels snot from your nose, a handy metaphor as children equal snot. Number 10. No complaining about how many rules there are in the school. Anyone found complaining will not be expelled, as that is what they would want. Instead, they will be put down a year for every year and be put down a year every year and be forced to stay at school forever. Just ask old man Giles. He is 92 and was been at Mock School all his life. Blimey, he looks quite old. Ned was one of the hundreds of children who had been expelled from school over the years. The headmaster expelled so many, there were now more teachers than there were children at the school, as this handy graph shows. Oh yeah, and then we have the line of teachers. Oh, it's just crossed over and the students has dropped down. Now Ned was back and he was ready for revenge. Chapter 11. Whoa, blazing bottom. And we'll read that tomorrow.